Vote is,
We are live.
we can, you might as well. Maybe first.
Yep, I'm ready. Okay. All meeting in order. Well, roll call. Mr. Hirsch. Here. Mr. Ladweir. I'm here. Mr. Kelly. Is absent. Mr. Glonick. Here. Mr. Probst. Here. Mrs. Brunette.
Here.
And Mr. Ratliff is here. All please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I'll lead it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published as a legal ad in the Superior Telegraph, posted on the district webpage, and sent to the WNXR radio station for announcement. A meeting notice was sent to the connection for publication. Item 3 is approval of the June 10th, that's tonight's 2024 agenda, open and executive sessions. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The consent agenda, which includes this item 4A, is the May 6th, 2024 regular board meeting minutes open and executive session. And 4A1 is a revision of the March 18th minutes, item 6B. The B is the treasurer's report, Mr. Landwehr.
Summary of the treasurer's report as of May 31, 2024, general fund. General account on May 31, 2024, there was a balance of $1,816,136.66 in cash and investments. Receipts since the 1st of June and not included in the May 31 balance are $633,697.29. And disbursement from tonight's June 10th board meeting total $58,680.88. Flexible spending account on May 31st, 2024, there was a balance of $30,788.91 in cash and investments. The health reimbursement account on May 31st, 2024, there was a balance of $6,214.52 in cash and investments. In the debt service fund on May 31st, 2024, there was a balance of $674.07 in cash and investments. And for your review, there is a more detailed report on fund activity is included in the financial statements.
Thank you. The payment, item C is payment of invoices, which we've all got a copy of the invoices that had a chance to talk with Mr. Custer Connor. If you had any questions regarding any of those. Item D is retirement / resignation / appointment / leave of absence, Mr. Warren.
Yeah, we had some resignations. Paige Tarico, first grade teacher at Northwestern Elementary School. We have Jeffrey Moore, part-time afternoon evening custodian at NES. He provided a 2-week notice. His last day was May 21st. Ashley Samar, part-time special education parent. And then employment, we have Terry Rayflat for a part-time Title I paraeducator at Northwestern Elementary School. Morgan Olson, former high school, middle school teacher, is going to be returning for that high school, middle school choir teacher. And Amanda Frederickson, Northwestern Middle School, is transferring from the middle school special education paraeducator to the middle school library media paraeducator. We are recommending all these four.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is that the one that says full time?
Do you have a question?
There was a resignation that wasn't on my agenda.
Please. Yes, it's highlighted in yellow on Mr. Moran's to
Yeah.
let him know that.
No,
That it came
That
after the
came
packets
after.
went out.
yeah, I was gonna write it.
Just repeat that name again.
Ashley Samar. Very well. So,
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? We have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Motion carried. Item 5, Amy Mack, report on the National Conference of the National Art Educators Association.
So I'm used to talking to kids all the time, and spend a lot of time to talk to group of adults. I'm a little nervous. So the national conference was in Minneapolis this year, so it's really hard to not say, please, can I go? So there were a few things that really precipitated my desire to go this year. So why did I specifically want to go? Well, I had a free place to stay, and it's close to drive to. And they were recognizing a national group of educators that last November I applied to be a part of. So there was a call put out by the National Association of Art Educators to have people in the arts. So there are visual artists, music, theater, and dance, and that's it. So they picked about 150 people in each category. So in the visual arts from K to 12, there are 163 of us from the whole nation who had to apply to be a part of a special group that would make us better educators. So as grade level teachers at, say, at NES, where I teach, and at Iron River, they have a PLC, a professional learning community, where they can get together and say, what's working for you with math and reading, and how are you doing this? What is, what's good about what you're doing? As what we call a unicorn teacher, I'm the only one in the elementary, so I don't have anybody to bounce things off of. And oftentimes people in the arts are unicorns. So I applied, I had to put together my resume, I had to do a video, I had to write an essay, I had to prove that I really wanted to be a part of this special group. And we meet for 2.5 years on our own time and discuss what we're doing. We're going to do action research and try to help each other be better. So I'm now a part of a small group of people. There are 13 of us in our little group that meet once a month for 2.5 years. And CAN, this Connected Art Network, that group of educators, that's nationwide, was being sort of featured at the national conference. So I was able to meet up in person with some of the people that I'm seeing on Zoom. So that was another really big reason that I wanted to go, because it's one thing to sit in a Zoom meeting with a whole bunch of people month after month, and it's a totally different thing to be able to meet face to face and talk and have conversation happen more naturally and meet people that aren't even in my Zoom, but there were people from across the country that were at the convention and part of CAN that I got to meet and network with. So that was one reason why I went. And so I just put up a little blurb about CAN, the Connected Arts Network, and that's their official blurb. And in this 2.5 years that I'm working with CAN, social and emotional learning is something that's really being focused on. And so I wanted to go and see if I could get into a bunch of sessions about social and emotional learning. And I also presented at the combined Minnesota-Wisconsin State Conference in 2022. So I was very interested in that. And I presented on something that I'm started here in this school district with the guidance people at the elementary level. So I had an anonymous benefactor who doubled my school budget for the entire year and let me spend it on about 80 kids. And I took my preparation time out of the day to meet with kids and partnered with the guidance department and helped kids to be more resilient, combined with kids who had different types of trauma. That's where the guidance people came in to sort of group kids and help guide me as to what sorts of things I could focus on. And so I was using the arts and social emotional learning to help kids in the Northwestern District. I wasn't able to do that I'm not able to do that anymore because I don't have that time in my day anymore because I'm now at both schools. It just doesn't work anymore. But so I did that for a few years, and because of COVID, we then also had to expand it. Well, got to expand it to more kids because we weren't pulling kids from lots of different classrooms and mixing germs and everything. So I did it a little differently and got to expand to more kids. But anyway, that was a really great thing that our district got to do. And I presented at a combined Minnesota-Wisconsin conference about that. And that's part of what got me into the National Connected Art Network group. They're very interested in what we were doing here and how we were able to help kids. And the other reason that I really wanted to go to the national conference is because I wanted to reflect on my own teaching practice, and in education, there's, certainly know fixed mindset versus growth mindset is something that, was always floating around, and especially in the arts, people say I'm either talented or not. It's that simple. And kids come, even at the elementary level, come into my classroom sometimes with that idea, I can't draw. Well, you can draw, like Leonardo da Vinci, not the first time, and so I often say, well, you learn more by making a mistake than you do by accidentally getting it right the first time, because mistakes are how you figure out what you fix. So I wanted to reflect on what I need to fix and how I can get better. So let me back up. You don't need to see that yet. So the keynote speaker at the conference was a woman named Linda Berry, who is just a dynamo. She's a professor at Madison, and she gave a talk about what is art. And people were laughing, people were crying, all in the same thing, in the same half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it was. I don't know. She was so inspirational. Another reason to go to a conference, to feel like, yeah, I really do have an opportunity to make the difference in the life of other people, the lives of other people. So anyway, Linda Berry, she was amazing. So if you ever get a chance to see one of her graphic novels, I would highly recommend it. I did make some notes. So let's see. I was able to attend some of the Connected Art Network seminars, sessions at the conference, which was super helpful. And I'm going to take one idea from one of the conferences and use it as my theme as an entry for next school year. And we all know that kids need more connection, especially coming out of COVID. Families, communities need more connection. And one of the sessions that I went to was elementary teachers creating community within their schools by asking kids to think about how they could communicate visually about themselves and share out who they are and what they're about by looking at architecture and creating a house that represents them. So if I was a house, what would I look like? Would I have a lot of windows, or would I be bricked up? Would I be brightly colored, or would I be gray, drab? Would I have a flower garden? Would I have a door? Would I have, all kinds of things that people can come up with to represent who they are and what they might look like? And then these teachers made communities, like drew streets and put the houses up. And I've been talking to people at NES about in each grade level creating a map on, we have large bulletin boards, so creating actual streets and having every kid in school have their house up so we can actually see our community, to help to build community visually, because lots of people are visual learners. So that was one nice takeaway that I had that I'm really excited to implement next year. And if you don't know me or haven't been around the past 17 years, I usually have a theme and teach from that as a jumping off point. So next year, community will be my theme in the art classroom. That was one really big takeaway for me that will help our students. And here is one example of another one. So another session that I went to was different ways to get kids to talk about art and different entry points, because people feel intimidated. And I just picked a common Picasso painting that most people probably already know, my students study this, and it's easy to understand what's happening. There's a very sad woman. So in the third grade, we talked about Picasso, we talked about his progression through the blue period and the rose period and Cubism and what's happening and how he's studying people from every possible angle at the same time and what he was up to. So they know that. So then as a fourth grader, they can come in and do this thing that I saw, this idea that I saw presented called a mirror critique, where you take on the personality of the artist. So a student would get up with a common piece of art and say, well, I made this. And the reason I made it is because, and then they would just go off on a tangent and say, well, this was my sister. She's really sad because, the dog died. You can see she's crying. I used these colors because these were maybe the colors that my sister likes the most, and I want to support her or whatever. So that the student then puts themselves in the position of the artist and tries to understand the motivation behind the artwork. And so in doing that, they have to talk about their personal motivation. They would also talk about techniques. What did you use? How did you use it? Was it successful? What do you think the best thing is about it? And then students can ask questions. And I saw this happen in a room full of a whole bunch of art teachers, so you can imagine it was maybe at a level up here, but I plan to implement this at fourth grade level, where students will use their art vocabulary that they learn in the classroom to present something and ask questions. And then I was put up in front of a room full of art teachers to present this one, and I could see, but nobody else could see. And I had to try to make everyone else see the image that I could see on a laptop, and no one else could see what I was talking about. So I had to describe it. I had to say, well, this is a Fauvist painting, which my students would know. There's a lot of red. There are patterns. Predominant colors are, this and that. And I could say it's a painting by Matisse, to try to plant those seeds in the other people in the room, in teams, to then quickly make a sketch, try to figure out what painting you're talking about. So it asks kids to think critically about what they're seeing. They can't say the name of it. They can't say the artist's name. Also, they can't say it's Matisse. But they can give clues about methods and color schemes and rhythms and patterns. Just a new way to get people to talk about art. And I thought about doing that with you guys, but I decided that. Anyway, so these are just some of the exciting things. You can't, so the really glorious thing about these two ways to have students talk about art is there's no wrong answer. You cannot fail. The biggest challenge is to say something in front of your classroom, your classmates. And so I would obviously start with kids who feel comfortable talking, and they would maybe be in pairs to start out with, so they could confer and not have to have everyone looking at just them. But in doing this, it gives them agency in their own knowledge. They know a lot. They just don't realize how much they know sometimes. And so if they're using art vocabulary and talking about things that they already know and successfully communicating it to their peers, they get that feedback when everybody else understands what they're saying, and then they feel more able. And if they can feel able in any place in school, it doesn't matter where you feel able, that can then spill over into other places in school. And for some kids, I used to teach here and elementary, and for some kids I know the place that they feel able is in the art room, and that to spill over into another classroom is key. Anyway, so those are my biggest takeaways. So how does this benefit our students? Hopefully I can bring a few more along into the growth mindset. That fixed mindset is, I don't know how to do it. I'm never going to be able to do it. It's too hard. I can't. They're talented. I'm not. That's what a lot of people come in with. And the growth mindset is more well, I can't do it, but I can try. Maybe, today I'll try, I'll make a mistake and I'll learn from it, and next time I'll be a little bit better. I mean, those are all things that teachers say over and over and over. And so I included this little photograph. We were being kind of silly. Teachers from all over. These are CAN participants at the national conference. And then this little step of feeling more able. I won't do it. I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. And then, yes, I did it. And right in that picture, we were all feeling like, yes, I will do it. Whatever it is that we were taking away from the conference. And that's what we want to give to our students, that feeling, yeah, we can do this. We're going to do this. So that was the national conference. I think that's all I would give. So any questions?
Well, my sister's a teacher, and I've been a stiff man and got scoliosis. So I think I started at the bottom, I can't do it.
In the form of a question, please.
I would've been-
Maybe
So I'm sorry.
you can come and hang out with us, and then maybe you'll get to the 8th step.
Yeah, you sort of dominate the steps.
Yeah, everybody, well, not everybody comes in the UX stage, but some kids come in that way perennially. So, yeah, the goal is to get everybody somewhere up the steps to the top. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, thank you.
it was
Thank you
great
so
to be able to go, so thank you for allowing me to do that.
Okay, item 6 is Northwestern Tigers Education Foundation.
Website?
Yes, please. Hi, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Becky Landworth. We presented to you actually pre-COVID, so some of you will remember that, some of you weren't there. A group of moms around 2018 felt a pull to pull together a education foundation for our district. We're one of few in the area that don't have one. And so we decided to pull together and find out what we needed to do to take care of that. We had a board, COVID hit, and everything came to a screeching halt. During COVID, part of our board resigned. Their children graduated and they chose to step back and be done. So Lori and I remained and we chose to push forward, build a new board and keep going. So we were on those steps too. Yeah. So, Lori, we were. Lori Ronke is our president. I'm the vice president of our board. This is Sarah Plutz. And she is taking care of all of our tech stuff. Yeah, all of our tech stuff. And then we have Terry Jakey, and she's taking care of our banking stuff and all of that. We are here today just to update you, let you know that we are on track. Everything is there. Our 501c3 status is up to date and good to go. We have our tax numbers, our everything else going. During this time that we were kind of in limbo, we did not just sit in limbo. Lori has connections through her work, American Family Insurance. She was able to make donations and they were willing to match those donations. So we have been building funds throughout the whole time. And we are excited to launch, hopefully, homecoming weekend with our first event. And we're very hopeful that our board members will attend. But until then, I'm gonna hand this off to Sarah and she's gonna walk you through what we have done digitally so that we can make donating and providing funds to our district super easy.
But no pressure. Thank you, that'd be great. As Becky said, my name is Sarah Plutz. I'm really excited to bring my type A personality to this foundation. So, it's organization related, I'm all over it. So we've launched a website here recently. We've kind of done more of a soft launch, really just to make sure things working, if people find it, when you click on something, does it actually take you to where we want it to take you, things along those lines. So this is just a simple Google site. that we have purchased the domain nwtigersef.org. We really wanted the NWTEF, but the Turkey Education Foundation we took that, so we couldn't get that. So I tried, but anyways, so we've got the website going right now, and I'll just walk you through a few components of it here. I guess as people are looking at this, you know, for me, I'm not an IT person. I enjoy doing this kind of thing though, but I'm always looking for if something isn't working or if there's feedback, the more people that can help us, the better we're going to get at this more quickly. So I would encourage you guys to take a look at the website and kind of poke around on it if you're finding things that need to be addressed. We have an email address if you want to know. But basically what we've done is created a simple kind of a welcome, like how did the foundation start and what is our, you know, initial purpose. And then we spent some time as a board kind of working through our purpose, our mission, and our vision, so people had a better idea of, well, you know, what are we trying to do, how are we going to do it, and what do we hope happens, that kind of situation. So we've got that out here just to give people a better sense of our goals. And then, you know, we want essentially to be able to have our staff and teachers at the school district be able to apply for funds for maybe opportunities, education classes, activities that they wouldn't necessarily be able to bring to the school otherwise, just due to funding constraints. So that's really the ultimate purpose. So we're hoping down the road to eventually have sponsorships and, you know, be able to raise funds that way, have events, things like that. But basically right now we have it set up where, you know, say a teacher wants to apply for a grant for the 24-25 school year. They would go to this apply button and it would give them basically a little bit more information as to what exactly am I applying for, how does the process work. So there's a very clearly defined application process decision, and then we'll provide a little bit more information on, you know, what we expect from them, right? Like we want them to help promote us as well if they're receiving grants. So when you click into this apply today, this works, right? It should take us, oh, now you can't see it on the screen, so I don't know.
It'll jump you to a new
Okay.
pop-up screen.
Yeah, I did.
Share.
Oh, okay, thanks. So basically we created a Google form, which I'm sure all of you guys are very familiar with, to create, very good slide, to create a grant application for the staff. So this has, this has just a little bit more of the information. Again, it reiterates the process that they should expect that we'll go through as a board, the types of information that we're requesting that they provide with the grant application itself. And then as you kind of scroll down here very quickly, like I just did, it's just a simple form submission that we're going to ask some additional information from the person applying. So there's about 10 questions. They can upload documents. You know, we're asking them if they've received funding from anybody else, those kinds of pieces of information that are going to be helpful for us in making a decision about whether we would offer those grants or not. So this is the form. We haven't really had anyone outside of our board test it out yet, but we're hoping in the fall when, I don't want to say this since you guys just got out, but when people come back to school, yeah, we're hoping to have the opportunity to meet with the staff at the various schools and kind of give them a similar overview. Here's the website, here's the grant form, and then, you know, have folks actually have an opportunity to use it, make sure it's working correctly, and hopefully get this rolling so that people can get the information. Now, one piece that we are working on that I'll mention quickly is that we will be adding, we're working right now with PayPal to set up a business account that's in process right now, and that will give us the opportunity to add a donate button to the website. We'll be able to utilize their various technologies at offsite events to collect donations, email, you know, tax receipts directly from that system. So that's what we're working on right now. Of course, simple check and cash always works as well. But that's the best system that we've determined at this point for taking those online donations, because that's such a critical component right now to be able to do online donations for folks. So I think that's about it for the technical website sort of stuff.
Sarah also secured us a QR code, so you'll see that on the handouts that you
Oh.
received. And that QR code, anybody would be able to snap a picture of, and it will take them either to the website, and then from that website, they can link directly to our PayPal if they choose to make a donation. Our goal is to have banners with that QR code on them, hopefully to be displayed at our sporting events and other things like that, so that we can get some high visibility for people interested in continuing to support the district. Right now, we have a wishes and requests program at the middle school that runs, and that is a monthly Google document that goes out. The teachers at the middle school are able to log in, put in the things that they need for their classrooms, and I have been chasing down donations to fill those wishes and requests. The goal is that this would replace that quarterly. So long-term goal, we would get rid of that monthly wishes and requests at the middle school level and make it district-wide, filling those wishes on a quarterly basis throughout the school year. We're able to alleviate the funding coming out of teachers' pockets and support the classrooms. And people can know then where their donations are going. Slightly different from a PTA, PTO, where sometimes the money is raised or buying cupcakes or whatever, which is a fantastic thing to do. We just want to siphon that money directly to resources.
And I think you guys, it looks like you did get these, one update was made to them, so if, obviously it's fine if they're out publicly, and the QR codes should take you either to the grant application or the website, that's not a problem. We just were able to simplify the website name on the actual brochure, so that looks maybe a little bit different, which you can take out.
And it would only have gone through our.
Right, I'm not worried about that, so, what is it? It's fine. Yeah, you don't make alert if you don't fail or make mistakes. Yeah. So, but yeah, so these are, we haven't really printed a bunch of these yet. It was just kind of testing out what works in different formats, and this is just a fun little program called Canva. You can make lots of cool things in there. So, but I just wanted to let you know there's a little bit of a tweak to it. We have the packets right there. So, yeah, so the QR code for the donations obviously isn't set up yet, because we're about, I would say, a week and a half away from having that available, and for me to actually be able to plug the button that PayPal is gonna make and send us into the back side of the website. So, and then we'll fingers crossed, make sure it works. Good.
Yeah, any questions?
Are you gonna have like a membership drive?
I would say we're gonna have a sponsorship, but you have to be shared by the website. I'm sorry. So I mentioned briefly that we're gonna have sponsorship, so it's not quite set up yet, but if you wanted to think of it like, I'm gonna do a gold, silver, or bronze kind of sponsor where you are donating a certain amount of money and then you would get a certain level of benefit for that. So I'm not sure I would call it membership per se versus sponsorships, if that feels different to you, I'm not sure, but
Are you like having a membership of your group to help you with?
Yeah, you have 4 people that you've identified
Yeah,
so far, and
Sure.
your kids will graduate like the previous ones did. And
Well, I got kindergartners still going.
Okay.
So
then- Well, the other 3
I'm here
people-
for at least a long time.
All of us have
Going into 7th grade.
We're gonna have like committees of people working on different projects.
We do have committees in there. We do have a Facebook page as well, so there may be shout outs on that for different committee, help with different committees. But we are not requiring a membership to the foundation to assist with those kinds of things.
So right now, if somebody goes to the website and they're like, oh, sponsorships, what's there? Well, we haven't worked out all the details yet, so, but we want people to know that we are moving in that direction, so they'll see this simple message right now. And hopefully, if they're interested, or they want more information, scroll forward, they can email us. They should be able to click on this link and which it worked, but you just can't see it, and that's fine if you do. But they will be able to email us their interest or any other questions And then, of course, they can just click on the little Facebook button and it'll take them to our Facebook page as well. So,
And if you are a Facebook user and you haven't seen it yet, that's because, like she said, we did do a soft launch. So we wanted to present to all of you first, make sure everyone here was updated as to what's going on. And then you should see more social media flying.
Would you have a link from the school website?
We currently have, when that original board presented to you guys, Mr. Hintzman did put a link up stating that we have an education foundation. And then unfortunately, again, during COVID, everything went cold. And so we are hoping to connect with Mr. Hintzman, get updated information and potentially get that QR code to him as well. So that when you click on our education foundation, it pops up there too.
Get that set up for the fall.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I'm going to comment that, thank you for your vision and the initiative that you guys are doing. So I really appreciate that. That's really, really good. So thank you for that. Can you talk to me a bit more about the perspective of, I'm a numbers guy, dollar values here? What does this foundation need to operate on an annual basis?
So last year's numbers at the middle school running on a monthly basis to fill the requests and needs of classrooms, which was anything from we need red pens to dry erase markers. They do lots of incentives at the middle school. We bought a whole lot of Tootsie Pops. We were just around that $2,500 mark in donations coming in. So district-wide, you know, and our other goal is again to ensure unity in the district. It's come up numerous times that there is a feeling of division between Iron River and here. And that's why, again, this education foundation, this is district-wide. This is not directed at one building. The only reason it's currently a wishes request at the middle school is because that's what I could run. Volunteers are in short supply. There's not a lot of people jumping up and down to do things like that. I had the time available and I was willing to help people. And so that's how we got that to work. This would eliminate some of that for me. We can reach out for donations. We can do a lot of that, but that takes a lot of that literal going into Target and asking for donations, going into local businesses, reaching out to parents. You know, hey, is anybody in the 6th grade pod willing to buy 4 cases of water? I mean, these are all things that previously our teachers were paying for.
Mm-hmm.
So we needed to find another way to cover that, take care of it, and yeah, and we actually had more donations. Thank you, Mr. Lambert.
You can't get from him.
So many other board members are trying to decide how to donate their funds.
I have another question. Does the foundation see as part of their function going after other grants that could be available?
We hope to, definitely.
Is that the vision?
Yes.
You had said grants, are you using that term as a teacher or somebody within the district applies to this and you're issuing funds back to them in the term of a grant? Is that what
yeah, it's
so when I heard grant,
kind of a
I was thinking
double-edged sword, right?
outside of,
it's both, I guess, which maybe we need to think about that terminology.
So
that's
we
probably a
wanna bring-
great term. It's
Yeah,
just
we want to
not-
bring grants in, but we also want to give grants to the staff and teachers as well. So it's both an incoming and outgoing expense.
And clearly, it's not guaranteed funding. As a board, we have to decide how to evenly distribute this and fill the needs that we see as the highest need. So clearly, we're not gonna be able to fill every need with those grants. And because it comes to the board for discussion before it's approved and the money goes back out, we did choose to label it a grant.
And that's direct teacher to district at that point is.
Actually, we
Not
want to make sure
necessarily.
that it's really clear that this is not just to teachers. If our cafeteria workers, our paras, anybody who sees a need within their job description here within our district, and we can help with that, that's what we want to do.
And then one of the things that we also thought was important just for perspective is that typically a grant would be paid directly to a vendor if we're able to do that. So rather than money going to a staff or a teacher, it would be, I have this particular organization that I want to bring in to teach an extra class for the students. The grant or the funds would be directly provided to that vendor rather than the teacher or the staff person. There may be instances where that's not feasible. I guess I can't think of a good example right now, but generally we want it to go to the vendor itself. So there's not a, conflict of interest or some sort of perception issue that, well, this person as an individual, staff member or teacher got the money.
And through the position that I was filling at the middle school, we had numerous community members reach out and say, my business will match funds if you are a 501c3. I was just a volunteer at that time. This took care of that again. So businesses like Lori can say, I'm willing to donate this much. My employer is willing to match that. We're doubling our donations and there's no loss in this system.
But I guess my final question is to this question. How does your team work in collaboration?
From the business office and everything, you guys are your own entity.
We are completely separate from the district. We're only presenting to keep you informed as to what we're offering. It's already been built. We're separate from Cody. He's got no liability here.
It's on record.
Please note that in the minutes.
That also, when you say no liability, that also means that the district has to say.
That is correct.
So this would function similar to our PTO, PTA groups, an event that teachers can talk with your committee, your team, and then they make whatever decision that they want.
Correct.
With that. So yes, from a business office standpoint, we are completely separate. And I think that's important for our staff to know, and I do like your idea about getting in front of our teachers at some point in time at the end of the year. So this is a resource that may be available to you if you have a special request of some sort, because as I said earlier, my job is super easy if I say yes to everything. Unfortunately, I can't do that all the time.
And Mr. Warren, thought we may be able to get some time at the in-service meetings with the teachers and staff.
I don't want to yell, but I want to put it in capital letters. Thank you.
I'm like,
But thank you very much.
Thank you for.
Item 7, approval items. A is a promissory note for $450,000 for Security State Bank iron for Wisconsin for the church replacement project.
Yeah, this one's me. So as I mentioned in past meetings, we will have to borrow for this project. Now, we are still continuing to work on private donations. We've gotten some, Mr. Warren already alluded to one on the news end things here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we had reached out to all of our local banking partners within the district, indicating that this is something that we were trying to figure out if we could partner. So Security State Bank, Greg Older from them expressed a strong interest in trying to work with us and finding some financial rates that are very attractive. So we found a financial rate that's typically 1.5% to 2% lower than what's going right now. The reason why we have to borrow is even though we have private funds coming in, of course, our friends at Midlands Turf are going to want to get paid when they are done with the project, which I understand, but the private funding is not coming in one lump sum. It's coming in over the course of anywhere from 5 to 10 years. It's fairly typical, at least there's. So this is that funding source to cover the cost of the install, and annually we'll receive revenue to offset the annual payments. It is a 10-year note. We'll look to get it off sooner than that, but there's no early payment penalty along those lines. It's basically just payments over the course on an annual basis. Any questions on that?
I think it makes sense we'll have a motion
make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second.
Oh, we're gonna need it.
Is there any other discussion?
That's right.
If not, we'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Probst.
Aye.
Mr. Hirsch. Aye. Mr. Lampier.
Yeah.
Mr. Ronnie.
Yes.
Mr. Burnett.
Yes.
Mr. Gaddis.
Can you tell me again who seconded that motion?
It was good.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, motion passed.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7B, WIAA Senior High Membership Renewal for 24-25.
Yep, every year we have to renew our membership with WIA, and WIA is waiving, it's always, it has been waiving the membership fees again, so they're doing it again for 24-25, so we just need approval for this.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the renewal membership of WIA.
I make a motion.
One second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? If there's no cost, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Cooperative.
cooperating with South Shore Occupational Therapists.
Yeah, we've got a 6630, right? 6633 agreement with South Shore for Stephanie Brown, our occupational therapist. We will again be working with co-op agreement with South Shore, and she will be working 3 days per week in our district and 2 days per week in South Shore. Contract agreement was enclosed. We will bill South Shore on a semester basis for approval of this.
Can I ask a question?
You bet.
I meant to do this, but I didn't read this until last night. So I apologize. On this, on Exhibit A on page 2, all of that stuff that's there, does this staff member qualify for the post-retirement benefit? And are we putting funds into that annually?
It will also be prorated.
I didn't see that on here. Is that, did I miss that? Because there's line item by line item as to each specific item, but that wasn't on the line item.
It is my intent to prorate that. And if you feel we need to redo that, is that something we can do? Sure.
I guess if we're doing 60-40, based on this, I would expect 40% of that should be. Now, the only hiccup on that would be in the event that that person left and those funds that got put in there, do we have to reimburse them back to South Shore? Well, I don't think it gets sticky, it just has to be accounted for. So I don't know how that has to work. And I guess if y'all figure that out, cool with me.
Short answer is part of the benefits cost. That is so that's essentially for
At the bottom, it says 40% of the salary currently go to the state or South Shore. So I assume that it would.
Also not friend, that's also the friend.
If you get an itemized bill, it is itemized on the bill, but it is basically 60.
And like I said, the only reason I said is that the fact that it was all itemized on each item and that wasn't on that list.
Okay, is there a motion to accept and approve this cooperative agreement with South Shore? We have a motion.
Can I ask one more question?
Ken?
The mileage. Let me just be clear. What are we paying mileage for? It says mileage at the school district, we have 50 cents, but what are we paying mileage for?
Well, she travels between our buildings, we cover mileage for that. You know, she goes up to Iron River and then the other buildings here.
I think that's built in the contract from the aspect of there might be some day where she has to start at South Shore. We have some flexibility here where there's a meeting that has to happen on the day that it's our scheduled day or vice versa. We have to adjust to, I think we've got a good working relationship with the South Shore administrative team that have that flexibility where if she has to start at South Shore on a day that she's supposed to be here, then they actually drive to us. We would carry that mileage and pass that bill on to South Shore essentially.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the policy back and forth. It doesn't happen here.
It hasn't happened because ever since we've started having IEP meetings through Zoom or Google Meet with COVID, that kind of stopped. So if there is ever a day that she's up there and needs to attend one of our meetings, she can do it virtually. Although we try really hard to schedule those meetings when she's in district.
So short answer to that, I don't anticipate any really costs associated with that, but it's a nice safe thing to have. We see approval.
That's standard.
Still looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with South Shore.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussions? We'll roll call vote on this. Ms. Burnett?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnie?
Yes.
Mr. Probst?
Yes.
Mr. Landsberg?
Yes.
Mr. First?
Yep.
And I say yes. Motion agreement approved. Okay, item D, report and recommendations from the June 10th, 2024 Building Grounds Transportation Committee meeting. Mr. Okay.
So we had the meeting before this meeting, and we talked about, there's a surplus of equipment that the tech ed department has, and the transportation department has a surplus of, or buses and cargo vans geared up. And the white buses will be in this too now, right? We're gonna try and include it.
Consensus of the committee.
So, so the consensus of the committee was to, this will all be put on the Wisconsin surplus online auction this summer, and try to get rid of these buses, the two white buses, which is our trip buses, and this extra equipment, and then go from there. Cody can fill me in.
So the broad strokes are right there. The transportation committee met. We have a series of buses that are no longer really needed in the transportation fleet. They're really backup buses for our daily drivers. We still have 6 of those, right, Mr. Amos? Yes. In the event that we have stuff with maintenance or breakdown, so we feel like we have enough buses to operate safely in the event that we have surplus. So the buses that are listed are typically 2006 and 2009 models that are really no longer serviceable life for us as a district. We've done this in the past once we get to a point. And the cargo van we replaced, it's service life with us. So we'd like to post those. This is a little different. We want to post those via the Wisconsin surplus online auction now. It's kind of a no-brainer from my aspect of things. They work with districts across the state, municipalities that will not charge us to post. They don't take a percentage for whatever they sell, and they are handling the sale itself. So essentially, they will work with us from start to finish. We will have some work to do the posting, take pictures, make sure we have the accurate descriptions. But the reason why we want to do that, I guess from my chair, we're trying to maximize the revenues back in the district. So sharing it in an online auction, because it's not only our local footprint, so anybody that is local can bid on that if they're interested, but it also gets us across the state, across the country. With regards to the trip buses, the short conversation around that is those buses are getting up there in mileage, getting up there in years, and if they were school buses, we would transition them into daily drivers route buses. As buses get up in mileage, it's just natural things happen, things break down. And the short answer is that running to the all break down on Lakeside at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, and it is at 10:30 on January 5th in Bushwick, Wisconsin, when it's 24 hours. So we'd like to see, and we put a minimum bid of $25,000 on those buses to see if they are worth anything to anybody on that front, because we can't put them into our daily driver fleet. They are white buses, they don't have the appropriate color, and also all of the needs for stops and stuff. In the event that we don't get what we need, we can continue to use those buses because we're not trying to find a fair deal. The goal eventually is if you get enough revenue raised to eventually replace that with a school bus, both potentially it'd be a trip bus, but also on the days we don't have trips going, it gives us another viable option in the event that we have something go wrong with our fleet. So the goal is to find the best deals on the buses that we have, and if we get the deal that we want on our trip buses, then we take that deal. Short answer is if we don't, then we those are the broad strokes. I know we talked heavily in the transportation committee meeting about other questions that I can try to answer. Mr. Amos, the transportation director, is here as well. Anything you want to add to that, somebody, Mr. Amos?
Oh, you did a good job.
I think that's more or less worth mentioning. 0 buses were taken out of service. That's the first time that's happened for a long time. So credit to the transportation department.
We also had a new state patrol inspector. So I hate to say, but there was times that he asked our mechanic what he should be looking for. And I'm not taking anything away from him. He used to, and he's learning.
We like it.
So we were happy with that. We just, as time goes on, a little more critical.
Right? So these 8 pieces of equipment is actually gonna be 10 pieces of equipment?
That's what
Is that
it
correct?
is. Yeah, so we did not list the trip buses on this board because we didn't know where it was going to go.
Right.
For sure, these 8 pieces of equipment, they're sitting in our lots. We need to send them down the road. No problem.
Are you talking about the?
No, not that, that's,
Just the 2 buses, well,
the 2 additional, but I'm talking about the pieces.
And the transportation.
So that, yeah, the 8 pieces of vehicle equipment plus the other 2 is gonna make
Would be 10.
10 pieces of equipment. Did you guys talk about it? I don't remember hearing one up watching online. Is there replacement of any of this? Are we buying anything or are we
That's
right
what
now?
we're hoping to see how the sales go in the event to actually have the revenue capital to bring at least 1 bus back into the fleet. Now, most likely be under a lease, which is what districts are doing. I will be going to look at that pretty in the infant stages of really looking at that.
But the intent
The intent is
to bring one
Yes.
in, however fashion you choose to pay for that at this point is irrelevant.
Correct.
Bring
Yes.
one in.
want to take what we have here, replace it with something. Sure, yeah.
And there was 1 less route.
Right.
That was additional.
Are all these insured?
Not ones that aren't, let me rephrase, the ones that aren't dry. There are a couple that were still on our spare bus routes. Those of course were insured, but once they got parked back behind the transportation, insurance.
So if there's no further questions, I'll offer. Motion that I'm bringing forward after the transportation committee met is that we post through Wisconsin surplus online auction, it's a 2-week auction, the tech ed equipment, and then the 10 vehicles. And then with that, of course, there's gonna be minimums established by the team.
Is there a second for that? Yeah, second. Any further discussion? You need a roll call on this? We'll take a roll call. Mr. Hirsch.
Yes.
Mr. Post.
Yes.
Mr. Lampier.
Yeah.
Mr. Bonnet.
Yes.
And I will say yes. Motion carried. Thank you. Further items from the transportation committee?
You want to talk about the,
I can give a couple of
Okay.
updates. So we are up and running with Midland Fueling Station, so that's right up on the hill here. It's, farm supply store there. So that is, we had some initial growing pains on it as we do with any new project, but we work through it and we have positives to it and actually will save us a very good change on the road. So we're excited to get that project rolling. Mr. Amos, myself have looked at the transportation cost billing for basically sending our students, our staff to activities, field trips. And we'd like to bring that down to a more feasible rate of $1.66 per mile for a bus, plus the fee or the hourly wage and benefits of the driver. We'd like to back that down to $1 per mile, and still cover the salary for the driver during the trip. We feel like that's going to give us a fair number in the aspect that we're not going to lose money at that number, but we're also not trying to go through one of the issues that we run into is getting to be so expensive to run our buses that teachers were asking us like to get a coach for cheaper. So,
So we should probably want a motion on that, or just
You would,
consensus.
once you get to the end, and really that motion probably could have gone, it would be the consensus that you would, the recommendations, you would accept all the recommendations from the committee, but that's fine.
So that's a good idea. So maybe I can revise my motion to
No need,
accept what the.
there's no need to revise. We're good.
And then like the vehicles, aka the vans, the camera that got goes through never really 67 cents. So, this wasn't brought to the board in the past. We felt like as an administrative team, it was important for the board to be aware of this. It's been an issue that we've heard from my chair. I've been there 2 years now, so I've heard at the beginning. So we believe it's going to be a lot better with regards to making sure that we're not taxing our fundraising efforts to have ways to try to get to some of the fun activities that our students engage in. I think is
Absolutely.
so, and the last one was just an update on the football field turf replacement. If you guys did take a drive down there, you'll see green. They're in the process of laying the new stuff down. So we're excited. I can't give you the exact time frame of when they have it done, but we're hopeful for the next 10 to 14 days that this project will be.
Okay, thank you. So we need a motion to approve the recommendations of the Transportation, Building Transportation Committee. Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Landwehr, any other questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. And then we have item E, policies.
In your packet, most of the policy revision recommendations by Neola are minimal, but have been made to reflect changes in state law clarification. New language was highlighted in yellow, and deleted language contains a strike through. There are also 3 policies deemed technical changes. While the approval of technical changes are included in the motion, they do not hold any content matter. And then there are 3 new. There are some new new policies with the first reading that we will be finalizing in July's July meeting. So is there any questions on any of those revisions?
I think we've all had a chance to look at those, hopefully, but they're pretty minor changes. So I would entertain a motion to approve the revisions and the technical changes, not the first reading of the policy, but the revisions and the technical changes to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes, the technical changes.
Revisions and technical. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lonnie. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, the first new policy is Mr. Morris stated. Read those. Administrative report, communication, or Mr. Moore, communication.
Yep, we've got a thank you for the memorial sent from Ben and Carrie Nutting for his father, and from the family of Kitty Ruska at 414. We also had a list of school board meeting dates for the July 2024 through June 2025, and the WIA bulletin volume 99 issue 4 from May 2024.
Board committee assignments.
Yep, so we here's what we have for the board community assignments. The discussion was held with Mr. Vanlin and myself on community assignment requests, and assignments are closed with any board packets. Was there any questions on those at all from anyone? We kind of kept things status quo, but we did make a few changes with Mr. Probst coming on.
Yep.
Okay.
Maintenance report, Mr. Pettigrew.
Yeah, maintenance reports been closed. A lot of general maintenance has been cleaned up the school year, or at the end of the school year, and we are beginning summer maintenance. We're starting to tear down classrooms and working on the process to make them all nice and shiny new by the time our staff gets back at the end of August. So Our custodial crews have just started that process. They do an excellent job throughout the summer months to get our building ready to roll.
They work hard, I think.
Yep.
Mr. Finkel accidentally volunteered for that. One time he worked really hard. He started applying for some teacher. So he did that too. Season 12 report, Mr. Glenn.
Okay, from our May meeting was our annual convention for the board of control. We had election of reps for the board of control, and the school district Maple seat was up, and we got reelected again, so we hold the seat on the board there again. We approved our meetings for the whole next year. We got our committee assignments, and I'll be on the HR committee, the election of officers, and then Dr. Madison went over the goals we set last year and how they met each goals, which is quite lengthy. So, yeah, another year on board. Or three-year term.
Okay, great. In the WASB correspondence and legislative report, Mr. Cowley. Mr. Cowley is watching online, I'm sure. So I will read the report that he submitted. This week, a Dane County Circuit Judge stated that he will soon be issuing his ruling in a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of 2011 Wisconsin Act 10, which in short eliminated collective bargaining rights for most public employees. The unions that brought the suit claim that by creating separate classes of employees and granting exemptions to public safety employees, Act 10 violates equal protection guarantees of the Wisconsin Constitution. The lawsuit will likely need to be ruled on by the state Supreme Court to have any effect. And then the 2023-24 legislative session officially wrapped up last week. The Senate voted to override several Governor Evers' vetoes, but without a supermajority in the Assembly, it is unlikely any of them will be successful. The legislature will now stand adjourned until the next legislature is inaugurated in January of 2025. That was submitted by Mr. Cowley, so thank you for that. Donations, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, we were graciously given a donation from Mike and Debbie Johnson of Lake Nebagon. Have donated $1,000 to the Northwestern High School Turf Project. We thank them for that. Today, we also had all three of our TV stations came in for a little signing with Synovus Energy. Synovus Energy gave us a check for $50,000 that they have graciously donated to help with the turf project. So we did that today, and Amy also interviewed some of the athletes in that, and it was actually a really good day for that. So we thank them for that, and we will be having another one with Essentia Health here probably in the next couple weeks. We'll go over that probably in July. But then we also had a $500 grant for Northwestern Elementary School was received through an application from the Nelson Oil Company in Poplar, and it was distributed by Exxon Mobil Education Alliance Program. And then, yeah, so.
Great. Awesome. Good enough.
Yeah, it was a good one. It's only 10.
Reports from Northwestern, which we got, report from Northwestern High School, Northwestern Middle School, Northwestern Elementary School, Director of Special Education, and Athletic and Activities Director. We have received, and I personally appreciate those very much. So thank you so much for those. Student, staff, and community recognition.
We did not have anything official. Did you have?
I have something I want to say. Okay. Well, next year's gonna be a little bit different. This year we had Maria Rita, who incidentally finished #1 with the perfect score in the Microsoft Word competition this year. There's a big article in the Superior Telegram.
I saw that.
It's online now. It'll be in the paper print edition on Friday. But she was a representative on the board from the student, and Lawson Burkhart as well. I had people asking, well, Lawson Burkhart was pointing on it. I wish she was here for this. You guys part of that. And then this year we lost an outstanding educator, Mike Ketchel, who decided to leave us. Our PTA, PTO people, Christy Essen at NES and Cole Lester, they're moving up. Their kids are going to the 6th grade, so they did a great job. We had some retirements. Barb Knoll, for almost 20 years teaching. Bess Lindbergh at the elementary school. Scott Janigo at the high school, elementary. Mark Carlson is retiring, and Mark has guided us through some of the toughest years in education in the COVID, I imagine. I want to really appreciate everything you've done for Western Mark. I know you got some more days to work, so I do a little posting, but we do appreciate that. And then, last but not least, Peggy Janigo, over 30 years, over 40 years. What is it?
44.
Over 44 years of service, and you know, it isn't just the longevity, but it's your professionalism, your excellent work as a administrative assistant. You propped up me as a president for this year and all the past ones. We appreciate that. And in recognition of that, you've got a huge tip. It's a plant. So you have to work at it.
I love plants.
So, I appreciate this is for the Board of Education and appreciation for all your years of service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you're more than that, but that's what you get.
That's very cool.
We also have something for you, Miss Peggy.
What?
Peggy was nominated Support Staff of the Year this year. We also, we had to do a lot of covert stuff in the office, because she knows everything, and that was really, these two.
Totally caught me off guard.
So actually, we have something for you. We have her own, very own, sign, Peggy Janigo, Executive Administrative Assistant. But on the back, it says, with gratitude and appreciation on behalf of the administration, staff, students, and community for 44 years of service to the School District of April, 1980 to 2024.
Thank you.
You will be missed. We love you, and thank you for everything you do for our district.
Thank
Number 9, Adirondack comments from the audience. Now that we've concluded the business of the board, we will end the live stream.
Yep.
And comments from the public, again.